Hey guys, Daniel here with Deacon Outdoors. Got a package in the mail here this last week. Something that I have used in the past. Had really good luck with this. Um, Reached out to Lee about doing a review for this setup. Um, Not going to be able to do a whole lot yet. Still waiting on a few more things to come in that I need for this. I got a set of dies I need to get. I need to get a tumbler and a trickler. Um, but this kit, I used the same exact kit for several years. I talked about it in some of my earlier videos whenever I was reloading. Uh, Reloaded 7mm mag, reloaded a lot of 223. Had a 700 SPS Tactical Remington. It was a 20-inch bull barrel, bolt action 223. That thing was lights out. I powder tested, shot Hornady 68 grain boat tail hollow points out of that gun. Very accurate. I was getting 1/4 inch groups at 100 with 3 shots. I mean, it was one hole, literally one hole. I was very impressed. But that goes along with doing load development, hand loading, more for precision than bulk. I mean, a lot of people run a lot of progressive presses and setups. I never do because I shoot bolt action. A lot of people will load pistol rounds or for ARs and stuff like that. That's where a progressive will come in very handy. Single stage, which is what this is, that's what I loaded everything with. And like I said before, I could sit in my loading room and just sit there for hours trickling a speck of powder and getting it down to as exact and precise as I could get it with all my components and everything. And did a lot of load development with 7 mag, 223, loaded 300 Win mag. I loaded some for 4570. I did some for a guy that had a 7mm 08, and I think that was about it. But I did hand load a lot and did it on a Lee single stage, and haven't had any of this out of the box yet. Like I said, I just popped the staples, so let's get into it. So everything basically that you need to get started is in this box. This is a primer pocket cleaning tool, shell holder, chamfer tool. The biggest thing I used out of this setup was the primer pocket cleaning tool, and that's about it. That's about all I use, will use out of this. The chamfer tool, I didn't use it a whole lot at all to chamfer the inside of the throat of the casing just before you press the bullet in. And then it's got a cutter that you can trim your case height down whenever it starts stretching. But I haven't had to do a lot of that on what I've reloaded. Comes with your manual. Send you a couple data reloading data, other catalog for a lot of Lee's products. Yeah, they're not the most expensive equipment out there, but I'll tell you what, I would put this against anybody loading with any other reloader, and you're not going to know the difference in what comes out of this versus an RCBS or a Dillon or Hornady, any of those bigger companies. That's for the powder measure, and this is, I'm going to get in, this is the scale that they send with it, and I'm going to get into that in just a minute because that is a pretty neat setup. Comes with the case trimming tool. Pop down in there and just cut the top of the brass a little bit, which is what that is in there. Let's see, here is this is the powder measure, which I never use it because I'm trying to load as accurately as I can. So this right here does good. Like if you want to do a lot, you can actually set this to dump close to your grain measurements, and then just pull the lever, and then it'll drop one charge and then go back up and it'll refill it, charge another case. That's good if you're just wanting to get pretty close, but for accurate, more precise hand loads, I measure with a little dipper and scale. Comes with the shell holders for the, I think this has the primer. Yeah, this has it has a bench prime. I had before, which that's pretty cool. These will be for the priming tool whenever I get it out of here. This is going to be also a priming tool for the press. Now, I always hand prime all the cases beforehand, so I don't have to try to drop it in to the primer pocket. Here's the press. So whenever you put a shell in here, this will set inside of here, and whenever you pull the arm, it will pull this one here. It'll pull it down. You can drop a primer in there and prime the brass, and then go to your next step. But they send you this, here's the handle for the press, but this one has this neat little gadget, which, like I said before, I didn't have this style with my other loader, but this is your priming tool. And before, I just had a little handheld that you put your primers inside here, and this mechanism pops in there. So each time you pull, which I got to figure out how this works. I've never used one of these, so I don't know. I got to read the directions. But the hand one, before, you would put the shell up here on the, or the case up here on the tool holder. There'd be a tool holder right here, and it had like a primer or a press that would, once you pressed your put your brass in here and drop this however it goes. Not sure. It's, like I said, it's not one that I've used before. Ah, I see now. Okay. So that will go in this way. Nope. There we go. No, that's still not right. There we, okay. So once you drop your, I'm just gonna pop these out here and I'll show you real quick. Because like I said, I didn't have this bench mount style. I had the handhelds. But you can very rapidly prime a lot of brass a lot faster than you would doing one at a time on the press. So once you get this in here, you drop your, get in there, get your shell holder put in place. If you can see that. So all your primers are going to be here, and they will single feed down this tube, and you just drop your brass in here, pull the handle, and you can tell whenever you get the primer seated. You don't want to overpower it, but just stick your case in there, pop it, stick it out, put another one in, pop it, stick it out, pop it. Very quick. I mean, that, to me, that is pretty amazing that this kit now has this style instead of the handheld. Because before, this lever was made down here and you'd hold it in your hand and put one in it. But this is, being that it's mountable, it can be permanent. So that is a very nice addition. Now, as far as the press itself goes, once you get your lever and everything mounted, these are pretty simplistic. I mean, there's not a ton to go wrong with it, but it does have a tube that catches all your spent primers whenever you resize, deprime on the dies. This has the quick release sleeves that you can get. You put your die in here, lock it down, and it's set. Then whenever you need to change it from your resize deprime to your cartridge die that seats your bullet, you just twist it, pull it, pop it out, put the other die in, and then you're ready to start seating bullets. This just is a benchtop mount as well, but all of your primers will fall right there. This is different too, because the old one had a little barrier and it would fall down in the tube. This actually connects to the ram, because there's a hole that comes through the top of the ram down, so it'll catch in this tube. So that will go on like so, and then whenever you run it up to deprime, drops out, drops in the tube. That's different than what I had previous. Now, this bad boy here, this is a beam scale that they send with it, and I tell you what, if you have never used a beam scale for measuring powder, I would argue that you would find one of these that were not accurate to the grain. I mean, I did, whenever I first got my original setup, I sat down, went over the instructions really well so I could understand how it worked, how to set it up correctly for what I was doing with it. And I didn't trust it. Never had, I mean, this was when I was starting to learn how to reload. I'd never watched anybody use one of these. Everybody had a digital scale, and I didn't think they were accurate at all. But I will tell you, whenever you get this thing set up correctly, it is as accurate as one of the digital scales. I compared so many powder charges between this and a digital Hornady scale, and every one of these measured exactly the same as a digital scale. So if you read this, the instructions on how to set this up properly, you don't have to have a digital, and you're going to get repeatable results every time whenever you measure out your charge. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it. I didn't think these were going to be as accurate. So, I mean, try it. If you don't, go spend 60, 70 bucks, get you a decent little digital scale and go on. But I'm telling you, these little scales right here, I will probably, because I got rid of everything years ago. I mean, I've been out of it for a long time. But I will get this set up whenever I get everything to load for my 6.5, and I'll be using this probably for the most part all the time, because once I find the load for that gun, I'm not going to have to change anything on this. It'll be set, and here we go. I don't think I'm going to need to get another scale. So Lee Products, I'm telling you, Lee Precision, they offer several different models, not just this one. I started out with this one whenever I bought into everything, got all my supplies and stuff. I bought this kit. Like I said, a few of the things are different from the one I had before, but single stage. I mean, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to get anything that's going to load any better than this. The results are going to be the same whether you, like I said, whether you got this or RCBS, Lyman, any of those other loaders. The end result's what you're going for. And to me, this, I know this set up really well and have had good luck with everything that comes with it. I am going to have to get a set of dies. All I usually end up getting is the full length resizing die, and I don't crimp. I just get a 2 die set. It'll be Lee brand. You can get adjustable dies. I think they show one actually on the front of this catalog. Yeah, the micro adjust die. I haven't done one of those yet. I haven't done a whole lot with changing the overall length of the seat depth of the bullets. I usually just stick to the suggested overall length, and that's it. I've seen enough accuracy with what I do that I don't have to change the seating depth, crimp, or how much jump you got to the lands or anything like that. I haven't dove into none of that. Not saying that's wrong, not saying it's right. That's just me. That's what I do. I haven't really dove off into finding out what the benefits of that would be. I mean, the results, I can show you pictures. I'll post a picture in the post section on my channel of what kind of group I got with my 223 that I hand loaded, and that was using Hornady 68 grain boat tail hollow point bullets, Hornady brass, and I'm telling you, I picked up range brass because when I go to the range, I shoot a bolt action and I single feed, and people down the way are shooting ARs and dumping 30 rounds at a whack out on the ground, and a lot of the times it's Hornady brass, or I think I'd loaded that, and Winchester a lot was what I'd pick up. But I mean, I would buy Hornady, and once I got a few hundred rounds of empty casings, I'd go to the range, load, develop, and then pick up what the people over on the other side were leaving on the ground, because they didn't reload. They just dumped several hundred rounds of brass on the ground, and if I was lucky enough to get there before the guy that cleans the range, I come home with a bucket full of brass. So I would load with mainly Hornady brass, but good once fired brass, CCI primers, and I'll tell you, large rifle primers are very hard to find right now. You can get them on Gunbroker, but they're going to be a little more expensive than what they normally are. The only things that I've seen on any of the other sites or anywhere is Magnum, large rifle Magnum, large pistol, small pistol caliber, stuff like that. But large rifle primers for 6.5 308, they're not out there. They're not in stores that I've seen, but they are out there. You can get a hold of them. And I also loaded Hodgdon powder. That's primarily all I ever loaded was Hodgdon. I had good luck with Hodgdon. I've had good luck with the CFE 223. I use that. I use Varget. I use the Hybrid 100V, I believe it is, and some 7mm and 300 Win Mag. I use the Hybrid in it. But do your research. If you want to get into reloading, to me it's very satisfying to load develop for a particular rifle. I didn't do nothing with the Remington other than shoot it. I did put a different trigger in it, but like my Savage 6.5, being that I put that all together myself, nothing custom, nothing fancy about it. It's, you know, an Axis receiver with a 110 barrel, with the trigger job and threaded brake, which I do have a device coming from that I'll be doing a video on. I'll tell you about that later. Not getting into that right now, but to be able to load develop for these things, going to the range and just testing, it's pretty cool to watch how you can change your groups just by tweaking 1/10 of a grain of powder, or finding that harmonic in that barrel and then getting your accuracy dialed in. I mean, you can literally watch it, dial it in whenever you start testing. I normally will start out, I will compare usually I'll compare the powder and the bullet manufacturer's load data and see, because a lot of times Hodgdon will have a different recipe, Hornady will have a different recipe, Sierra will have a different recipe, Berger will have a different recipe. They all are different. So whatever powder you use or decide to go with, compare that data with the bullet you're going to use, because they're going to be pretty close in your upper end. I don't find, I try to stay away from powders that show compressed charges. But if you find a powder that does not show a compressed load in the recipes for max data, and then whatever your bullet data is, let's say Hodgdon says the upper end is 42 grains, Hornady says it's 40 grains. I'd start at 41. That way you're pretty safe. I mean, you can go above a little bit and then start working your way down. I usually go in a half a grain increments. So I'd start at 41, I'd probably do 41 and a half and 42, and probably not go any higher than that, and then I'd start going down from there, 40 and a half, 40, 39 and a half, 39. Do 5 or 10 rounds in each charge and go test. But that part with everything with hand loading it's very satisfying to see how your work pays off whenever you do that. So just research, have fun with it, find equipment you like. I'll leave the link to Lee down in the description. They got a lot of different stuff, a lot of good equipment, very cool people to talk to. I dealt with the guy I dealt with. I mean, we emailed back and forth quite a bit. And I was very excited to be able to do this unboxing. Like I said, once I get everything and get everything set up in my room to where I can start loading, I still got to get my tumbler, trickler. I got everything. I'm not going to get a new scale. What else? There was something else I needed to get, but I haven't got yet. But I've got primers, I've got brass, I got to get bullets and powder, which that's no big deal. My local gun shop's got plenty of that in stock, so I'm not worried about those two components. The primers is the big thing right now. Not sure why, but yeah, just do your research, and you know, if you got any questions, feel free to leave a comment for me, and I'll get back to you. I'll share what knowledge I have. Like I said, I've done it for a lot of years, and then I got out of it because I just didn't. Once I got my 223 shooting, I topped out at 650 because that was as far as I could take it, and then I didn't have the opportunity to shoot past 250, and I'm working on getting that changed with my 6.5, so I've got a place where I can go to 800, maybe 1,000 plus, not sure yet. I got to talk to the guy. So yeah, I'm anxious to get started, get something put together before it starts warming up, spring starts hitting, and getting out and shooting and enjoy it. But yeah, just check it all out. It's really interesting. You can go down a pretty deep rabbit hole. It's just how far you want to go. I stopped at a certain point, but like I said, if you got any questions about any of this, feel free to drop me a comment. I'll leave all the links, everything like that, and then once I get everything set up, I'll be back and we'll go through some loading. Well, have a good evening. We'll see you next time.